What we do here is go back, 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 back.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Promised End podcast. My name is Zar.
Yes, comrade. My name is John from Ome It's John.
And in this episode, we're going to talk about video games that became popular during the early days of computer shops, basically internet rental shops.
These are the games that have been popular around the late 90s up to the early 2000s. Yeah. So it's amazing here in the Philippines how the computer shops, or in the language of other countries, net cafes. Yeah, but we don't call it net cafes back then because it didn't have net any internet access at all. A lot of the shops here only have LAN access, in which in its case wasn't really bad because these promoted the LAN games, or the local area network games, where a lot of friends and people can fight or have a contest with each other, and they're just in the same computer shop or in the same cafe.
And a lot of friendships were made during this period.
And broken.
I met a lot of my lifelong friends playing these games.
Yes, me too.
And I can say that these games brought out, I guess, the competitive side in me. So, to start off, we're going to talk about a real-time strategy game. One of the most popular real-time strategy games ever, StarCraft, and
StarCraft Brood War.
Yeah, StarCraft Brood War.
So, basically, StarCraft is one of the most prolific games in real-time strategy. It involves a lot of micromanagement, or you can just play Protoss and carrier the fuck out of their enemy. Or Terran and just nuclear launch detected the shit out of your enemy. But still, StarCraft is a really fun game to play with your friends or with other people because it involves you pitting your skill against managing several units or several actions at a time. So I believe this game promoted the APM, actions per minute. Yes, and which eventually evolved into APS, which is actions per second. So pro players can actually do 3 to 5 actions per second. Like, seriously, it's insane, but they do that. Okay, so StarCraft is a game of factions. You have 3 factions to choose from. Zar?
One of the factions is the Protoss. They're an ancient alien civilization, very high tech, advanced technology. The design reminds me of Stargate, really. Even if they're highly advanced, the designs, the aesthetic of their units and their structures are very ancient.
They're basically ancient aliens made alive.
Yeah, and I have to say, they have the most powerful units in the game. Okay, John is giving me this look. What I'm saying, per unit, if say for example, you pit one Protoss Zealot, the Zealot being the basic combat unit of the Protoss, you pit that against the basic combat unit of other races, it will come out on top. Because per unit, the Protoss has very powerful units. However, they're very expensive to produce. Now, aside from the Protoss, you also have the Terran. That's the human race, and they are also a highly advanced faction. They mainly use, but they use conventional weapons like guns, flamethrowers, battleships, bombs, even robots. And if you've seen movies like, I guess, Alien, you'll know where the inspiration comes from. So again, just like the Protoss, some of the Terran factions units are expensive to produce, but not as expensive as the Protoss. And they have a lot of really powerful units that can dominate the battlefield. But again, they're very slow to produce and somewhat expensive. And lastly, I'll give this one to John because this last faction is, I guess, his favorite. It's a you're not a pro if you don't play this faction, to be honest. It's the pro faction.
Okay, so the last faction is Zerg. So as Zar mentioned earlier, if you played or if you watch like Aliens, or I'll give a more specific example. If you've watched Starship Troopers,
Yeah.
you'd know what the Terran faction is. And for the Protoss, let's just say again, it's like Stargate. They even have a building called Stargate. Yeah, in the Protoss faction, and the last faction is the Zerg. These, if you watch Starship Troopers and the Earth side, the human side are the Terrans. So the monsters, insectoid side, these are the Zerg. So Zerg is basically a really extremely fast faction. You can attack your opponent in like a minute or two. Basically, you can start to harass other players or other enemies, but by that time, they're really fast. Their units are extremely cheap. You don't bother with trying to save your units because they're really dispensable and it's really easy to replace them. Also, they can grow really fast. They can expand really fast since you can the hatchery. I think that's the main base, the hatchery, the basic base. You can easily just pop it in somewhere and the blight. What do you call this? Hive cluster, the blight. I forgot. You can only build on those. That's the only downside. You can't easily expand outside your base, unlike Terran and unlike Protoss. As long as you have a Cylon,
Yeah.
you can build around it. Here in Zerg, you only need to build around the like blighted thing.
I think it's a pylon
Pylon
for
Protoss.
Protoss. It's like the power source. It just covers a radius around it, and you can only build structures if you have a pylon to power that structure. And for the Zerg, I think they call it the Scourge or something.
No, I forgot.
I forgot what, but there's this organic creeping organic substance
On the
that
floor.
covers the area, and you can only build units or rather structures in that area.
You can actually use a certain unit to expand it if you want to build structures in outside your base or easily. It's like it's the creep.
Creep.
Yeah, it's the creep because I remember the unit that can expand the creep colony.
Mm.
So again, Zerg for Zerg, it's more of a insectoid faction, and even the buildings, they look alive. Everything's so organic, but it's being organic means it's kind of unnatural. It's too organic. They don't have tech. It's too everything's like life force.
Yeah.
So
And also, I think they're the most squishy among all of the factions. It's just that you get beaten by numbers
yes,
when it
it's
comes to
just
the
a
Zerg.
numbers game for the Zerg, and there again, it's the units are not really that expensive, and the training is fast. You can just go suicide and just Zergling rush the hell out of a Protoss or a Terran base in like a minute. It's so fast. So again, these three factions are the teams you can play on StarCraft, and the story actually involves around several characters. One of them is the notable Jim Raynor from the Terran race, and his escape from the Terran faction because apparently the Terran factions are corrupt, blah blah blah, The Protoss, who's the Protoss main? Zeratul?
Zeratul.
Zeratul, the Dark Templar.
Yep.
But again, in the first, I think it's Tassadar, the High Archon. Or High Templar,
High
sorry.
Templar.
High Templar. And for Zerg's unit, it's Sarah Kerrigan, a former ghost, a former Terran which got corrupted, and she was made into the Queen of Blades, the champion of the Zerg. Okay, so these units duke it out in an intergalactic war. So for some reason, these are the only sentient beings in their galaxy. These three factions, and they duke it out to get resources. Mostly, it's about securing resources and making other planets their own. So what's fun in StarCraft? The campaign story is good, okay, but what's fun is again playing it with other people.
Yes.
It's so satisfying to again if it's rush, you gotta play Zerg if it's rush, man. It's just okay. You can Zealot rush, you can Marine rush, but Zergling rush you can do it in 45 seconds. It's just that too. It's that fast. And but for longer games, I have to give it to the Protoss. They're just the units, the end game units of Protoss is just insane. And for defense, it's got to be Terran's siege tank.
Yes.
Nobody can fuck with the siege tanks.
Yeah, you can't penetrate a line that is protected by siege tanks unless you use air units. Because siege tanks, they have this mode wherein
Siege
they
mode.
can deploy and their range expands exponentially once they deploy. And they have AoE as well, basically area of effect damage, can easily kill Zerg units with a few blasts. But again, the Zergs kind of have the best air units in this game.
Gorgeous! And Devourers! And Scourge! Queen!
Yeah, the unique element to Zerg gameplay is that you evolve your units into other units. So you start with a base unit, and that's the Mutalisk. That's the base air unit, and you sort of you either evolve it into the Devourer. The Devourer is the air to air unit, and the Guardian. The Guardian
looks like a crab.
Yeah, it's like a flying crab, but its defining feature is that it can shoot from great distances.
Yes.
It can snipe any. It's the air to ground unit.
It's an air siege unit.
Yeah,
basically.
and it can snipe. You won't even notice it destroying your base because it can snipe from afar.
So basically, what they do for Terran, if it's Terran, they do siege tanks, then they place missile turrets near the siege tanks and bunkers.
Yeah.
Bunkers just to absorb damage and get the units out of the siege tanks. So again, defense is the main priority of Terran. When you successfully defended your base, it's the time to launch a counterattack. So the specialty of Zerg is to attack as fast as possible, strike as hard as possible, and Protoss is just they also have insane defense because of their shields. They're one of their main defining factors. They have tons of shields that prevents units from dying. So these shields you can recharge them using a building called the shield battery. So you can, as long as the unit doesn't die or doesn't suffer fatal damage. But again, Zerg has a unit that can penetrate shields.
Yeah, and also the Terran has the Observer unit that can fire EMP missiles, and basically once an EMP missile hits any Protoss unit or structure, the shields get taken out, and their actual health is it's very low.
If you have like 200 shield, you have like 50 health. 70 health.
It's just that the good thing about Protoss is the shield regenerates.
Yeah.
So, and it regenerates faster than the regeneration rate for Zergs, because Zergs All Zerg units also regenerate health, if I'm not mistaken.
But the thing is, for shields, you can only generate until half. If it's taken out by half, you can only regenerate 50% of the maximum shield. For Zergs, they can regenerate their health fully. So that's the thing. Terran doesn't regenerate at all, but they have medics.
Yes, they have medics, and they also
The SCVs can repair units as well.
their basic work unit or their basic utility unit, the SCV, can repair buildings and repair mechanical units like the battleships. So
It's a very prolific strategy game. Like I said, you need to juggle all your units, several units at once. You can't have just again. You can't carry your way out of a fight, but still, it's better to have other units with it.
yeah,
Because again, it's a unit per unit battle. It's even though you're attacking in squads, you'd like your units to attack in multiple directions. You need to know which priority targets are first. You need to get that Reaver to kill all the Goliath. And you don't need an Ultralisk. It's shit. It dies too easily. It's just a tank. It just absorbs damage. Anyway, so again, StarCraft is one of the games that made it big here in the Philippines when there's no proper internet connection yet.
yeah.
And when people were playing StarCraft, Half-Life came out on the PC. But here in the Philippines, Half-Life wasn't really that big.
Yeah.
It became big, yes, but there's a mod for Half-Life that made it really big here in the Philippines. So while others are playing StarCraft, other people are playing Counter-Strike.
Yeah. Half-Life is a first-person shooter game, much like Call of Duty, and some guys created this mod for Half-Life. It's a modification to the game. You basically just install it and enable it through the Half-Life menu, and it replaces Half-Life with Counter-Strike. Now, Counter-Strike is a competitive multiplayer first-person shooter. You have two factions. You have the counter-terrorists and the terrorists, and people usually they just join. They join games, and they are separated into two factions. So you have the terrorist and the counter-terrorist, and the objective to win varies depending on the map. But usually it's a deathmatch game wherein you just rack up scores.
When you kill, if you eliminate all of the players on the opposing team, you actually win the round and it restarts. But there are some other objectives in the map as well. The most popular are the DE maps, the destruction maps, which involves the terrorist faction bombing certain areas on the map. Once they bomb that area, they automatically win.
Yes.
And there's the CS maps, the Counter-Strike maps, which involves the counter-terrorists to rescue hostages. But this type of games are way less popular than DE matches because DE matches can be solved through pure skill, but in CS matches you can kill all the hostages and the game still runs. Someone just sacrifices money, kill all the hostages, and it's still the counter terrorists can still lose.
Yeah.
So destruction maps are way preferred by people, especially those that are in the competitive scene.
Yeah, I think it's the most competitive map. Basically, the terrorist faction is given one bomb, and the map has several bombing locations. If the terrorist faction makes it to the bomb area, what they can do is they can plant the bomb. Once the terrorist player starts planting the bomb, a meter will show up. He needs to wait for this meter to fill up, and once it's done, the bomb will be planted. And
Bomb has been planted.
I'm not sure how many seconds the default is.
Usually, the default is 45 seconds.
Basically,
Or
the terrorist faction, the bomb will take 45 seconds to explode. Now, even if at this point in the game, if even if the terrorists get eliminated, the bomb will still continue the countdown. And if the counter terrorists fail to disarm the bomb, then the terrorists still take the round. Now, in order for the counter terrorists to actually win a round in a DE map, they have to either eliminate the terrorists before they plant the bomb, or they defuse the bomb.
they actually need to defuse the bomb before it explodes on the target area. So the game gives you a defuse kit. You can buy one for faster defusing. Pro players buy defuse kits so that they have higher chances of disarming the bombs. But you can actually defuse it without one. It takes longer. Like it gets diffused like 300% more, and it's really hard for counter terrorists to win a round if the terrorists are good. They secure several locations in order for the bomb planter to get to the target area and just plant the bomb and win the round. They oftentimes they would sacrifice themselves to protect the bomb site because they know that if they win, even if they die, they still win the round and they still get more money than the opposing team.
It's a very tactical shooter in that regard, because other other games right now, they sort of have this twitch shooter twitch shooter mechanic. Even if you actually die, then you'll just respawn and continue the round. You just need to rack up points. But in Counter Strike, once you die, you remain dead for that round, and it's up to the remaining team members to pick up after you. So the best strategy is to work with your team and make sure that you survive. Now, the amazing thing about Counter Strike is its approach to realism. It had a lot of realistic weapon models. Actually,
one
the weapons themselves are based on real weapons, right?
one of my favorite weapons in Counter Strike has to be like the Stare AUG, Stare
Okay,
AUG,
yes.
which is 4-4. The old models it was 4-4. Uh, it's a really hard weapon to master because the recoil is insane, but the bullets are so strong. Another one is the AK, of course, because its bullets are basically the same as a sniper, but the recoil is again extremely insane. You need to know how your AK recoils. But uh, these guns aren't available to all players. The AK can only be purchased by the terrorists, and the Stare AUG can only be purchased by counter-terrorist faction. So some guns are available through every faction, but some specific guns, even pistols, can only be purchased by the specific factions which it's tied to. So again, it's about choosing the right gun. It's about mastering a certain type of gun. If you're a sniper type, of a long range type, or an assault type, you need to master the movement, the recoil, targeting the head. There's a bonus for headshots. Not bonus gold, just people just die easily if they get shot in the head, like real life. So, but there's also armors that prevent that.
That's another difference with other shooters. Back in the day, there were other first-person multiplayer shooters like Quake, but the difference with Counter Strike is you die very easily in Counter Strike. In most cases, it just takes two to
Brutal.
three bullets to kill you from a rifle. In the AK's case, maybe around two bullets would kill you. Now, it's it's a part of the major part of the gameplay is to secure your position, to be honest, and make sure that you don't get killed.
Mhm.
So people kind of develop a lot of weird skills during this time, such as shooting a sniper rifle without looking at the scope.
Let's go.
Yeah, basically, the most basic method is to shoot the enemy with your handgun first, or yeah, shoot the enemy with your handgun first, make them stop moving, and then quickly switch out your sniper rifle and fire, and hopefully the snap animation would take care of it, and they'll just die from that. Also, there's another skill that I was not able to actually master. I was never interested in it. It's the bunny hop. John can explain
So,
this better.
bunny hop is a bind skill, or rather, it's a command that lets you well hop like bunnies left and right. It's a really fast movement skill, and it's only available on versions lower than 1.6 until 1.3, if I believe. And bunny hops allows you to hop really fast across the map, just jump, because in versions before 1.3, whenever you jump, there's no penalty. But in 1.6, whenever you jump, you slow down.
Yes.
So the bunny hop died at that time. What was made popular was the jump crouch, in which if you jump, your feet just moves. It makes you move easier, even though you're jumping, and those are like skills, auxiliary skills that makes you survive longer. It's not about shooting better; it's about surviving longer. And of course, the shooting part is a main factor of the game. But as long as you survive, some people don't just even hide. Some counter terrorists hide. And their specialty is disarming the bomb, going to rogue places just to prevent people from or prevent terrorists from planning the bomb. It's a really tactical game. I think it's kind of one of the reasons why it was so popular in the Philippines.
Another thing about Counter Strike, it's the what another amazing thing about Counter Strike is its longevity.
Mhm.
As John mentioned, it went over a lot of revisions. There were a lot of versions that were released, and even until now, Counter Strike remains as one of the most popular first-person shooter games out there. You have CS:GO, and it's like the most competitive shooter right now.
And also, CS:GO is a standalone client now. It doesn't rely on Half-Life anymore.
Yep, it doesn't rely on the source
It
engine.
doesn't rely on the source engine anymore, and it's handled by Valve and Steam. So it's again, they made it happen. They made CS:GO happen, and nowadays you can play with other players online. But back in the day, Counter Strike was a LAN game. It was so fun.
Yeah,
Seriously fun.
especially here in the Philippines because our internet was crap. But I guess for the U.S. and I guess for Russia, they can play it
Online.
online without any problems. But for us, when during
It's
the
the
internet
LAN
boom,
game.
yeah, it was always LAN. And fun thing about it is the trash talking. It's the trash talking
Every
culture.
LAN game is fun with trash talking. No one says that you were not taught by your parents not to trash talk. So everyone, even if they're not taught by their parents to be violent, they know how to talk trash.
Yeah,
And it's one of the fun things in playing LAN games.
it's part of the culture, really. Even if you have even if you have a good upbringing, parents raised you right and shit, you still, once you play Counter Strike or any competitive game for that matter, something kind of gets unlocked, and it's so easy to be a jerk, but it's really
Fun to be a jerk.
it's how you take it. And some of the friends that I made playing these games, they became lifelong friends. Even though we were like trash talking each other, like really badly trash talking each other, we still became friends. It's like a friendship forged in fire.
Yeah, and only people that that can accept these kinds of uh, trash talking. Only people with upbringings that can accept these kinds of trash talking can identify with this belief or this motto. We're not, guys. We're not saying that you talk trash to every people and be toxic in games, but just keep it casual, keep it what do you call this? Keep it classy.
Yeah, don't attack the person's history. Don't attack the person's
Ancestors.
personality. Just trash talk them from a game standpoint.
Yeah.
Trash talk their skills.
Mhm.
And if you get trash talk back, just learn to accept it.
Mhm. If
And
you're called stupid and because you've done a stupid move, then it's stupid. What? You're too butthurt to accept that you've made a stupid move, right? It's so annoying.
we've all been at both ends. We've been at the receiving end of these insults, and I say this because in Counter Strike, it is part of the culture.
Mm.
It's part of the culture, and it's inescapable. Especially if you play LAN locally, you're surrounded by a lot of you're surrounded by other players.
Squat.
Even the people who are just standing there behind you will trash talk you. And that's part of it. That's part of it, and that's what I love about it. It brings people together.
You just need to be good. Get good, bro.
Get
Get
good.
good, or you'll face the wrath of the whole computer shop. Okay, anyway. So, speaking of faction games, there's another RTS that involves faction. Every game has a faction. So, since we've gone from RTS to shooter, then back to RTS, since we're trying to follow timeline here, one of the best RTS other than StarCraft, other than a Blizzard game, is Red Alert. And specifically, okay, Zar, yes, specifically Red Alert 2, and we're gonna stretch it to Red Alert 2 Yours Revenge. But there's this mod, the Red Alert 2, what's it? There's the name of that mod.
I forgot what the name of the mod was, but it was a ton of fun.
So it's a ton of fun. There's October something shit. Okay, so I'll give you the floor. Talk about Red Alert.
Red Alert is a real-time strategy game, similar to StarCraft, but the difference is the units sort of draw on reality. The units look more realistic. It portrays a war between the Allied forces and the Soviets. So you have two factions, but the beauty of it is, for each faction there are several countries that you can choose from. In the case of allies, you have countries like the United States, France, Germany, and even
Great Britain.
Great Britain, and even Korea.
Korea.
Or is it South Korea?
Yeah, South Korea.
South Korea. Now, for the Soviets, you have Iraq,
Russia.
Libya, Cuba, and each faction, or rather, each country has its own special unit or special mechanic. Now, for the Allies, you have very Western units, and for modern units. But for the Soviets, you have really grim-looking units there,
And
very realistic.
The Soviet units, you can easily check that for the Allies, they rely on much modern weaponry like prism energy. They rely on electricity and stuff like heavy reliance on basically modern technology. But on the Soviet side, they relied on more industrial looking guys. This is very evident for the flak trooper. It holds a flak cannon. It's insane. But that's the beauty of RA2. In StarCraft, you have a certain limit of units you can build.
Yes.
But in Red Alert, can build as much as you want if you have the resources for it. It's so insane. I once did 250 Rocketeers and 50 Prism tanks just to fuck up another guy's base. I myself was once attacked by 200 Apocalypse tanks. And you don't draw out uh, fights with Soviet units. It's just insane. The Apocalypse tank is just insane. So every again, as Zar said, every country has its own specialty. Like the U.S. has the paradrop paratroopers. Great Britain, I don't know. France has the Grand Cannon. Germany has its snipers. Korea has the Black Eagles, and in Soviet side, Russia has the Tesla tanks.
Yeah.
Cuban terrorists, the Libyan demo trucks. They're extremely fun to play demo trucks. The Iraq desolators. Desolators. This is a very Fallout universe character. It looks like a person riding in a power armor, having a nuclear like thing.
Yeah. It's
And
like a radiation gun.
yeah, a rad gun with, and if you deploy it, the area becomes irradiated, and automatically infantry gets melted,
Yeah.
and the tanks immediately like take damage just being in the area. Then what else in Soviet? Is that all? Yeah, I think that's all.
Yeah. That's all that I remember. And the fun thing about Red Alert, even though it's a very fast game, because it can be decided in just a few minutes, but the fun thing about Red Alert is your units actually level up, they rank up, and as they rank up, if they survive long enough and get to kill a lot of enemy units, they'll level up and their damage and their health will increase. And this is evident in very long and drawn out games. As John mentioned a while ago, with the Soviets, you have the Apocalypse tank. That's their ultimate ground unit, and they also have the Kirov airship. That's their ultimate air unit. And once these units rank up to the fullest, their AOE damage
It's
becomes
fucking insane. It's not even on the level of fair anymore. Especially the Kirov shoots fucking lightning bolts out of nowhere. It's not even fair. But of course, there's always a counter for everything. Again, this is a real-time strategy game where you keep on countering every unit the enemy has. What's fun in Red Alert is after their expansion on Yuri's Revenge, even though it got kind of like psychosocial weird because the Yuri faction, according to the description in game, Yuri is a unique country or a unique faction. It has unique units. There's the virus, like a sniper-like lady that shoots viruses. There's the brutes, which can maul tanks. These are melee units that can maul tanks. And Yuri, the mind control thing. It's not even human anymore. It's like Professor X mind controlling stuff from a long range. And the Yuri unit can even mind control buildings. It's that insane.
Yuri sort of started out as
Soviet unit.
it's a Soviet unit that can control other units, other enemy units. Now, in the story, Yuri kind of forms his own country, and that's his nation, and that's where the expansion comes in. You have Yuri's Revenge, and this introduces a lot of, just John said, a lot of new units for use. But unlike the Allies and the Soviets, Yuri is just one country. So if you play Yuri, there's no variety really. You just have the same you have the same units. You only have a single country there.
Yep, it's just one country trying to vie for power versus two factions that have been like at war at each other. And what's fun with what the hell is that cough? So what's fun with Yuri is um, it becomes more tactical when you're using it. So basically, when you're in allies versus Soviets, you have to counter each other. But on Yuri's part, yeah, not only do you have to counter allies and Soviets, you need to counter each country. So if they have, like, if they're infantry heavy, like the German snipers, there's German snipers. You need to deploy, or rather, get your Yuri unit to, what do you call this? To mind control that sniper and kill off the infantry units, mind control the tank, etc. It's a very different mechanic from what we've been used to playing in the traditional patch of Red Alert 2.
I think the Yuri unit you're talking about is the Mastermind.
Yuri Prime.
Oh, the Yuri Prime. The Yuri Prime can control like 3.
Yes, and buildings as well.
And then there's the Mastermind, right? The tank. Yuri has this tank which can actually like mind control other units and tanks.
It's insane.
Also, they have the Gatling tank, right?
Yeah. That's a fun tank. So basically, their basic tank is the Gatling tank. It has a fucking Gatling gun on it. Yeah. And it can target both aerial and ground units. It's not it's very unheard of because in the Soviet case, the only one that can do that is the Apocalypse.
Yeah, and it's a high-end unit.
It's a high-end unit.
You don't get to deploy that immediately. You have to build a lot of structures and gather a lot of resources before you can build one.
And in the Allies' case, it's the SCV. Although the SCV can target aerial and ground units, it's very weak. And the the IFV.
Yeah.
And the IFV's only use actually is to get units on it, to let units rank faster, because the IFV changes its gameplay. If you get a GI and what do you call, go into the IFV.
Yeah, if you let a unit board the IFV, the IFV changes from a missile tank into whatever the unit specializes in. In this case, for the GI, it becomes sort of a Gatling tank, but it can only target ground units, though.
The Gatling tank of Yuri, however, it's cheap, can target aerial and ground units. It can what's happy with this kind of tank? There's this structure in the Yuri faction that you can deploy tanks there. You can get a Gatling tank, go board that certain building, and it becomes a turret. And it levels up inside that. It's like the barracks of the Allied faction, and the, what do you call this, battle bunker of the Soviet faction. But in Yuri, you can get tanks inside it. Then after it levels up, get it out, and you have like a high-powered unit. So it's a really weird faction to play, but it's really fun. It adds more flavor to Red Alert 2's constant bickering between the Allied and Soviet forces. Actually, there's a lot of other Red Alert games. There's Red Alert Tiberian Sun.
Yeah.
They tried to play on the space trope on this one, on the intergalactic faction type. Yeah.
I think it's Red Alert is a series, basically a series under Command and Conquer.
Command and Conquer.
So Tiberian Sun is under Command and Conquer.
Yeah, sorry. So it's Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun, and there's Command and Conquer Generals.
Oh man, I fucking hate that game.
It's fun actually. You get to play with China's hackers.
Yeah, I'm just salty because it's in 3D, and at the time my computer can't run it.
Yeah, and I think I can beat him in 5 minutes using Raptor.
Most likely, because I never played the game.
Seriously?
Be honest. I never played Generals because, like I said, my computer couldn't handle it. And by the time Generals was released, I was playing Counter-Strike.
I was playing everything. So basically, I'm a Noma, you know.
Oh, no.
I'm that good. Anyway, so we've tackled StarCraft,
Yeah.
then we've tackled Counter Strike, and we've tackled Red Alert. In computer shops back then, these are all you hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either like yes, yes, commander. Yeah, da. For yun eh. It's either you listen to that or fire in the hole. Counter terrorist. It's either that or yes. All right. Yes. Or that Dark Templar.
I'm gonna frag this commander.
Yes.
That's like one of the Marine lines,
Mm.
and these are the games where you prove yourself to others. These are games of skill.
Mhm. And I love just to interject another voiceover. I love the Firebat's voice. It's so suave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fired it out. It's so suave, and I mean these are multiplayer games that often pit you against each other. But there's this one game that really involves you cooperating with other people.
Yeah.
The game gets harder the more people's in it, and it's one of the games that you only play it at night with other people because it's where the other competitive people die down and you get to play co-op games with your friends. And it's one game that defined dungeon crawling. Yes, guys, it's Diablo 2.
Yeah. And Diablo 2, Lords of Destruction.
Yes. It's actually older than Red Alert. It's actually on par with StarCraft and Counter Strike's fame,
Yeah.
but we decided to talk about it. The last topic for this podcast would be Diablo 2 because of just how awesome that game is. So basically, Diablo 2 is a continuation of Diablo 1. Doy. So Diablo 1 is a game where it pits you with Diablo. It's Doy. You can only choose the warrior, the rogue,
And the
wizard against King Leoric's mad church. And basically it's just one town, Tristram. But in Diablo 2, you get to explore a lot of places. Like seriously, it's so big. The classes have been divided into the barbarian. The barbarian is the massively offensive melee character. Then there's the paladin,
Paladin.
which is the holy defensive melee character. There's the Amazon, the range physical character, or you can play pike or spear or whatever. But it's still fun to just crossbow the shit out of people or and just javelin throw the shit out of people. There's the and what's the enchantress?
Sorceress.
Sorceress, which involves you using the powers of ice, thunder, poison, nova, the extremely OP shit, and what was it? Ice, fire,
Fire.
and gets you to play a character that teleports. Then there's the necromancer. The neck. It's the neck romancer. Huh? And it involves you doing necromancy-ish stuff, where you raise skeletons, blood golems, crows. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, crows.
Oh no.
Is that the?
That's for the druid.
Yeah, we're gonna go get to the druid later, bro. So, skeleton mages, golems, clay golems, and the blood golem, the tankiest summon ever. And so basically, that's for Diablo 2. Now, for Lord of Destructions are
For Lord of Destruction, the expansion adds one new area, a new boss, and two
an
new
entire
character
new
classes.
act.
Yes, and two new classes. You have the druid. The druid can summon animals, use nature magic, and also can transform into either a werewolf or a werebear.
Where they're so cute.
But nobody really uses the werebear form.
Hey, there's the werebear only set,
Yeah.
where your werebear becomes really tanky and quite fast. But This is
No.
the thing in computer shops before. The werebear uses a lot of resources. The game crashes a lot if you use the werebear form, and it's more awesome to play as a werewolf. And let's face it, guys, it's so awesome.
Also, the other character that gets added is the assassin.
Did you play that?
Yeah, that's actually my character.
Lame.
No, it's not.
Trap style?
No, I don't use
Martial
traps.
arts?
Yeah, martial arts. And
Dragon Fang. Gay Dragon. It's gotta be the strongest. No, man. Dragon Fang, that finisher move it's gotta be the strongest fucking melee attack ever. It's just
Now,
too overpowered.
here's the thing with Diablo. Diablo is an RPG. You basically level up and assign stat points, and also you also gain skill points so that you can build your skills. Now, with Diablo, you can't have all the skills.
Mhm.
You have to focus on your build, so you have to plan it out real early. Now, in my case, as I was playing the assassin, I actually just mastered one martial art.
Which one?
It's the I think it's the Dragon Fang. It's the
so overpowered,
the
man.
Dragon Fang is like the kick, if I'm not mistaken. And if you level that up a lot, like if you reach max level, Dragon Fang level 20, you get 3 kicks, I believe. And if you use items to boost the skill level further, you get 4. And it's so fast. It's so fast.
And it's a finisher move. Basically, you attack normal attacks, then when it charges up, you just Dragon Fang the shit out of
No,
everyone.
in my build, I don't even use the charge up skills.
You what? You
I just use the
Fang.
Dragon Fang. No, the reason for that is because I use chance to cast on my
The
equipment.
auto casting.
Yeah,
Dragon
so
Fang.
I have crushing blow. I have chance to cast this, chance to cast that, and every time I kick, it recalculates the chance. So
Okay.
sometimes it gets so sometimes in 4 kicks I get 4 crushing blows.
So that's you're auto casting another skill.
Yeah. The only thing that doesn't get that doesn't recalculate is deadly strike.
Okay, see.
But again, that's sort of advanced.
I kind of played an assassin too, but I focused on electric traps.
Oh, traps, yeah.
Yeah.
I also have one trap.
Mm.
The death sentry, because
Oh,
that
yeah.
explodes corpses.
Mhm. I did the electric trap, then that sentry build. It's extremely fun to play, except for facing Mephisto, which uses thunder attacks and is kind of immune to electric attacks. But
Yeah.
basically, since Mephisto keeps on summoning, there's that sentry for that. So it's a cheap assassin build. Didn't really like it, so I focused on my werewolf. And before that, I focused on my Amazon.
Yeah. I also play Amazon.
Amazon is so fun to play.
And I only use one skill.
What?
Jab.
Jump.
You know,
Yeah.
if I was using Dragon Fang on my assassin, you know that I'll use Jab on my Amazon. This skill is a just like Dragon Fang. You just strike multiple times with the javelin, and it becomes faster.
So powerful.
It keeps getting faster. Well, let's get into the basics first of Diablo. So the story is
You tried to kill Diablo.
the story is Diablo sort of gains, or rather, Diablo possesses the hero from.
Don't.
Oh, okay, whatever. But basically, you pit yourself against forces of evil, and somehow the primeval sort of reawaken, and it's your job to put an end to these monsters. That's why each what do you call this? Is it art or act? Each act has its own boss and location. Every time you finish an act, you move to a new area, and it's very diverse in that way. Basically, you start out with a gothic area. You have gothic architecture and shit. But once you're done with the first act, you move over to the
desert.
the desert, and it looks like a
It's so annoying. I hate that place.
very wide.
Ghislaine is shit.
And the areas are very big and featureless, so it's easy to get lost.
It's not only easy to get lost, the enemies are so annoying, they're easy to kill, but there's just so many.
Yeah, they keep moving, like
And
they
they
keep
keep
jumping
moving.
around and shit.
The lizard thingies, fuck, they just keep moving.
But the third act happens
It's
in the
even more
jungle.
annoying. But I hate Loot Glen more, just because it doesn't feature anything. At least in, what do you call that place? In Act 3? That swampy area thing? Where there's a ton of fetishes? Where they...
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
fetishes are like small people, and
Pygmy people!
what they do is there are two variants: the melee type, and the range type.
Mm.
And,
Now there's also the Magicaster.
yeah, unfortunately, there's the shaman type, and if
That.
you stand face to face with a shaman type, it will kill you
Yeah.
so fast with its flamethrower attack.
You just keep moving around. And since the projectile calculation for Diablo, it doesn't home in. The projectiles, you can move around and, like, unless it's intended to hit you, you can just move around and evade it. But it's so annoying. I hate that. What the swamp thing? I need to know.
Also, the fort area is
You're back to Gothic architecture in the
Yeah.
fort area.
you're basically in hell.
Yeah, you're basically
In the fort area.
No, you're not in hell. You're in pandemonium.
Pandemonium. All right.
Yes.
What I love about Diablo is the sprite, the art itself. All of the sprites, they look so good.
Mhm.
For an
So detailed.
for an old game, I can still actually play this game
Mhm.
today.
Same.
It still looks good, and a lot of the enemy sprites are very detailed. You know how they attack, how they die.
L'Oreal is still disgusting as fuck.
Yeah. And it's a very challenging game. Also, they were still releasing updates for this game up until 2012, maybe before Diablo 3 came out. They were still releasing updates for Diablo 2, and Diablo 2 was released 1998.
Mhm. So that's basically around 15 years of playing Diablo 2.
Yeah, and fun thing about it is as Blizzard continues to release patches, the skills change. How you use skills, how powerful skills are, and they even applied skill synergy.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if you level up a skill that you don't even use, but if you invest points on that skill, it makes other skills more powerful.
That's why Dragonfang is so fucking OP, overpowered, because it can actually, like Zar's build, it can autocast Crushing Blow. Is this the Shadow set? Did you complete that?
No, I don't even use the Shadow set.
Mhm.
I just use a very good shoe. Gore Riders.
Go Riders, yeah.
And what I did with that is I sort of used the Horadric Cube. You actually get this item in the game that allows you to...
Spoilers.
It allows you to combine other items. It's like an alchemy item that allows you to mix items in it. However, there are recipes in the game that will allow you to actually upgrade your equipment to the higher version of that equipment. Because Diablo, the game, is divided into several difficulties. And in the first difficulty, in normal difficulty, you just get normal items there. But in the next difficulty, which is Nightmare, you get Nightmare versions of the regular items that you
Much
see.
more powerful, have more options, have
Yeah.
more defense, etc.
And lastly, in Hell difficulty, you get the final versions of those items. However, there are unique items that stay in the normal tier of items, and that's one of them is the Gore Riders. So what I did was I used a recipe to upgrade it to the Hell version,
Mm-hmm.
and that became my kicking weapon.
Your kicking boots.
Yeah.
So again, Diablo 2, as Zor said, it's about upgrades. It's about leveling yourself up. Again, it's more fun to play with others because the game gets harder, and we have a challenge. It's the hardcore mode,
Yeah.
where in hardcore, even if it's normal, once you die, you die. Your character stays dead.
Yeah, and you can never load that character again. It
Except
remains
if you have a save file on
Yeah.
your diskette.
it remains on your character select list, but it will say that it's dead. You won't be able to select it.
Yeah, I was once a Slayer, then I died.
Oh, yeah.
So sad.
Also, before we end this podcast, let's just share a few stories about Diablo
Yeah,
2.
sure.
I have this story. I played a lot of Diablo 2. I was a big RPG
Yeah, same here.
fan back in the day, and I remember there's this beginner set, the Saigons set. Now, of course, it wasn't me who completed the Saigon set first. It's a set of equipment that grants you bonuses as you complete the set. And one of our playmates was able to complete his Saigon's armor set, but his biggest mistake was not saving his character in his
Ouch!
diskette. Okay. Now, back in the day, we used to have these micro floppy disks. We carried them around so that we can save our games in them. It can only contain like 1.4 MB of data.
Yeah, it costs $20.
So very far from the USB drives that you now have.
Very far from cloud saving.
Now we carry our diskettes, right? He didn't save his character, and the next day when we played, when he noticed that when he was selecting his character wasn't wearing anything anymore.
Bye bye hack.
Now, when he went to load his character, and he checked his inventory, right? His armor was missing. His sword was missing.
The gems.
The gems were missing. Even his gold was missing. Even the rejuvenation potions that we saved.
The full rejubes?
No, we didn't even have full rejubes back then. We just had the regular ones. But yeah, even the
Ouch.
rejubes got stolen. So it was a thing back in the day.
Yes.
If you play Diablo, make sure to save your character on your diskette. Because if you don't save your character on your diskette, you run the risk of losing everything that you
Yeah.
worked for.
Then you just transfer computer shops, never play there again, or just play Counter-Strike.
Yeah, you just play Counter or Red Alert.
So yeah, I have my own stories to tell, but they're so long, especially that Barbarian with dual mace. Some idiot did the Barbarian with dual mace, and the Paladin with an axe. I don't know why he keeps like, oh, I'm an offensive Paladin. Okay, what, prayer type? No, I just have this really cool axe, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? It says mace only. Yeah, but I'm like an aura paladin, so why? So there are a lot of other stuff like my werewolf, like killing Diablo in like 1 minute.
That's nothing.
In hell?
That's nothing.
No, you have Dragon Fang. I'm just a werewolf, dude. Come on. I'm just basic attacking and like wolf biting Diablo. That's all.
My Dragon Fang is kind of basic too. It's like my first skill.
Wolf bite is a basic skill. I do basic attacks. I don't spam.
No. You use Fury. Let's not.
Okay.
Let's not kid ourselves here.
Okay, of course, it's a must for werewolves.
That basically turns into your basic attack. You don't use your basic anymore. You just build your what's that called?
Wolf bite. What?
What's that called? You build your sort of your vengeance or something.
Fury meter.
Fury meter, and then you use the multiple Fury attack.
But and still, Anyway, it's a werewolf. It dies easily.
And
Seriously.
but it has the best life steal.
It
in
has
the
the
game.
wolf's bite is just insane life
Yeah.
steal.
It has like this hunger. It's the only character that can actually steal mana as well.
And well, Diablo 1 minute. Anyway, so we've talked about StarCraft, Counter Strike, Red Alert, and Diablo 2. These were fun times. And actually, Czar, I think we've gotten the best games
Yeah,
out of it. Here in the Philippines. We've played a lot of old school competitive and cooperative games in the PC where there's no internet yet, but but still the camaraderie exists. I have tons of friends that I've met through playing LAN games and still my friends now. It's fun sleeping and eating Mountain Dew and Pancit Canton.
yeah.
It's so fun and I don't know. I miss it, but I don't want to do it again.
Yeah. And these four games are like staples. Right? Every computer shop back in the day had them. I'm not sure if they still have them though.
I think they still some still have them.
Yeah.
There's there's other games like there's Battle Realms.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games.
Notable
is Battle Realms.
Yeah.
It's so fun. I can talk a whole episode about it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Honorable mentions. You
Yes.
have Battle Realms. You have
Warcraft.
Warcraft.
Dude, this is Warcraft. And
Also,
what else?
Age of Mythology.
Age of Mythology. There's Titan Quest like Diablo.
Yeah.
Age of Empires.
Age of Empires, of course.
It's the longest RTS game ever.
And I guess in
Like,
some
no, please.
in some rare cases, you also have Civilization 3.
Yes.
Civ 3.
Civ 3 is like Age of Mythology and Age of Empires. It's so long.
But it's more tactical than...
It's more tactical than anything I've ever played.
Yeah, because
seriously.
Age of Empires and Age of Mythology, both of them are also
Mm.
RTS games, but it's very long to play.
Just because you build civilizations from Stone Age to
Yeah.
Age, it's insane. What other games? Other co-op games like Diablo. Yeah, Diablo was like one of a kind. Again, there's Titan Quest, but still,
It wasn't that popular.
it wasn't that popular. Diablo 2 is still the co-op game to go to when you're playing dungeon crawlers.
Yeah.
So, well, other honorable mentions, you can still, if you want to hear us talking about them, or if you have other games that you think has been a part of that lifestyle or that era, just comment below. We're free for suggestions, and feel free to tell us if you want to like participate. We gladly go to your place as long as you can provide good entertainment.
That sounds
Ominous. So these games again are a big part of us, and we know that it's a big part of you too. So if you like what you've just heard, go subscribe and hit that subscribe button. Punch that the like button.
in the face.
No, I'm not,
No?
it's so high.
Yeah. You can't.
Punch the like button. It's so high.
Yeah, you can't really do a Jacksepticeye.
Yeah, it's a Jacksepticeye only thing.
Yeah.
Nobody can.
It's hard to
I
pull
don't
up.
see you.
I can do that.
You're
I'm doing a Markiplier right now.
Markiplier right now. Okay, so again, subscribe, hit the bell. If you're listening to this on Facebook, just click on that like button. If you hear, or if you're, I don't know, got entertained, we seriously want to have your feedback on it. So again, this is John,
And this is Czar.
saying, comrade. For the union. For the union.
One-way trip.
One-way trip for the bus. And again, just for Battle Realms, just because I love it. For the dragon. For the dragon. Okay. Bye guys.
Bye,
See you next
guys.
time.